Don't you wish there was a cheat sheet that you could just look at while you're building your homepage that you could rely on? Well, I have one for you. Let's dive in. This is the homepage framework, right? This is the perfect landing page framework that I've taken from so many sources. This is over 15 years of experience. I'm really excited to do this, and I want to make it as simple as humanly possible because I need the simple stuff to keep everything very clear. I feel like this can help anybody and everyone, mostly small businesses, but as you'll see, big businesses do it too, right? And I think one good example is digital marketer. I think if you've been in the digital marketing space, you know who these guys are. They're huge, but even them, they still follow this very, very well. And I'm going to give you different representations of what that looks like, right? And we'll go from there. So the hero, right? One big promise. And it's crazy because it follows almost exactly this to a T. And I made this separate from this as well, which is really cool. So one big promise where AI meets real world marketing for real world businesses, right? So play smarter, execute faster, grow with AI powered systems built for real businesses like yours. Get your free AI funnel audit, right? And it could save you thousands in loss and leads. So the promise is mixed in there, which I really, which I like. And then of course we have social proof right there. Boom. So it's following the formula to a T already. But and as you can see, your problem is stated, why your funnel isn't converting like it should. You're guessing at strategy, your messages don't hit. And this is part of the problem agitation solution that I talk about here, the copywriting frameworks, right? There's two. There's attention, interest, desire, action, which we can go over, and problem agitation solution, which I think it's the best for beginners. But you can also, obviously, they're using it right here, and you can literally take that to the moon. So there's nothing wrong with using a very simple formula for multi-million-dollar companies. It'll work just fine. And then we have a CTA again. So CTA again. And then here we go over the process, right? A very simple 1, 2, 3 step process. And then I have review here, social proof again, social proof again. You want to do social proof scattered throughout. I've seen a lot of formulas and online, and they don't really, to me, this is the most comprehensive and it's the most realistic because most people really follow it this way. They put in the social proof in multiple areas and in these areas specifically, as you'll see here, right? So we explain the process, which also explains the benefit. Now they're kind of mixing in some of the process with the benefits, with the solution, right? So they're kind of mixing this with this a little bit, because here, so they kind of flipped it actually. So they kind of flipped it to where the process is more up here, and the solution or the benefits are kind of down here, right? But that's fine. I mean, it's not like this is just a guideline of a framework. It's not like a hard and fast rule. And then we have, more social proof once again. And this is also another form of social proof. Ryan Dice, who I've been following since I was very young, he is also social proof in himself, honestly. And then we have features benefits, which is a lot, which you can also use as like a comparison chart. That's what they're doing here, comparing, right, in a way, which you're probably used to. So it's like us versus them. You can never go wrong with us versus them. It's always very powerful. And then we have a close, and then boom, risk reversal, right? Try lab just for $1, right? And then free is also no risk. And then they still have like a high level coaching or high ticket offer there, but it's very, very subtle. And then of course we have the FAQs. So this is brilliant. This is the exact framework in action that you can see. This isn't just me. This is like where the big dogs use this, right? Now, let's look at another, because I wanted to discuss the design aspect as well and how they work with each other, but it's a blend, right? So this is a high standard of design, but it's not like the most sexiest, in the world. But I can guarantee you that it's, very, very high converting. And it still is definitely not ugly by any means. It's nice, Now this is beautiful, right? Beautiful, and I still think it's very high converting because it still follows a lot of the same formula, right? Hero with one big promise, social proof right there, right in there. But then it's kind of there's no problem really. I guess this is more of like a attention, interest, desire, action in a way. Um, this is a bit of the process still. And then more testimonials. So it still kind of follows it to a certain degree. And then, of course, more reviews. And honestly, I think it's a little lazy, in my opinion. Now, of course, they're huge. They make millions and millions. So it doesn't really matter my opinion on it. To me, it matters because it's like, well, they're missing. To me, they're missing out. But I guarantee you, Digital Marketer is making way more than Flux. I mean, way more money. But it's kind of relative. But the biggest thing I wanted to just kind of suggest, or for you to kind of see, is like, this is great design, but it's not always. It's definitely like not using all the formulas, and it's definitely not as important to use great design as it is to use great conversion principles for small businesses and for most businesses. Now, if we're talking about the top 1% of businesses, that's different. Like if we're talking about Apple, if we're talking about, I mean, if you're watching this video, you're most likely not in the top 0.1%, right? Where you can totally bend the rules and make plenty of mistakes and still make millions upon millions of dollars because your brand is so hot, right? That doesn't matter that much. But even with them, with Rand Segal, I believe is his name. Even this, I'm like 3 steps to building a thriving web design career. I think that's honestly kind of weak, and I think it's kind of doesn't make too much sense. It's like 3 steps. Well, where are the 3 steps? These are like 5 steps. Now, is he saying, I guess, getting access to the 3 steps? So I don't know. I feel like there's no one big promise, because there's one thing with that I love is fantastic copywriting, and this is very, very good copywriting. But let's go into one of the greatest copywriters currently living right now, which is Joanna from Copy Hackers. Let's go into the 10x landing course so you can see page. So you can see someone that, so like, okay, yeah, look. Okay, so this is awesome. Landing page copy that converts. Look at how much copy this is. This is insane. This is called a true long form page. And I bought this training 10 years ago from Joanna. And I watched her make like 100 grand, 80 grand in like a day from doing a webinar, and those principles have not changed. Now, and I think this is one of her better design pages. Some of her other pages are not that well designed, but it's all about the message for her. It's all about and she is like, she does really well. She's one of the writers, copywriters for Intuit, and she's been working with them for a very, very long time. And as you can see, she's constantly using this framework. And honestly, some of this framework is from Joanna. Like, I'm be real, it's a mixture of her work and Digital Marketer and old copywriters like Dan Kennedy, and I tried to just simplify it for myself, for others. But it's like, she always touts one offer, one big promise, one target audience. That is the best way to design a homepage. This is a landing page, so and this is a long form landing page, mind you. About the homepage, sometimes kind of people worry about is, well, what if I have multiple services and I don't know what to do? Well, what do I do if I have multiple services and I want to advertise on the homepage? It's just a matter of your risk tolerance, right? So like. And it's a matter of like dilution of the messages, right? So the more you add, the more diluted the message will become. So if you're willing to risk that, then you can risk it, right? So if you add 1 or 2 more services that you really want to highlight, well, that will dilute your overall message of the homepage, right? The overall message, because you're taking away from the one message, and then as a matter of fact, you will lose conversion power. So that's just how you see it. Now, the less things that you distract people with, then the higher conversion rate you will have, right? And so you just got to keep that in mind with the homepage. And sometimes it's unavoidable because you have to talk about your other services on your homepage. Like for me and my brother, we have to talk about other services on our homepage because we do multiple services, right? And I'll talk about this in a second because this is the before. I'm gonna do an after with this, with a true formula of this done, and it's gonna be 10 times better. I promise you, right? I'm gonna redesign this because I had to design this kind of in haste, and now I'm gonna redesign it, and it's gonna look incredible. So I hope that answers your question. I feel like some people do struggle with that, but it's really like just a matter of balancing probability, you know? And then you just have to test it and you have to see, because sometimes it's worth it, sometimes it's not. And this is an example of a site that I did for my family's company, and you know, it did wonders. It worked absolute wonders for the company, where I started using the this formula, right? It's not even fully fleshed out yet. Okay. So there's still a lot of work to be done, but I'm telling you, and gosh, I wish I had the before, but it was absolutely incredible to change, right? Because we got almost an additional $50,000 in new lead opportunities that wanted to buy engagement rings and whatnot, because I added the live chat system, because I added great copywriting. I made everything very simple. I started off with social proof, right? Boom, boom. Hero, one big promise, right? And then the only thing is I didn't really add a problem because I don't think that's necessary. So I kind of switched into ADA for this: intention, interest, desire, action. So attention, a little bit of interest. I know everyone loves Rolex. And then we, you know, kind of get into more of a desire, use beautiful woman and all that stuff, use envy. And then, you know, have them take action, right? So I have like action here, I have an action here, book design, book Rolex conversation, book appointment, and it was really helpful. And of course I added a recorder, which I highly recommend everyone to do. It's where you can watch people's actions on their site, and it helps you so much figuring out, okay, what do I need to do to help this person find what they want to do? It's the best way, and it's just like, it makes everything so much better. Because sometimes you see people like clicking on like a picture, and it's like click, 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 and they think something's gonna happen. You're like, oh, I should put like a link there, right? So, anyways, I'm trying not to overwhelm you a little bit, but I think this does a really, really great job of kind of showing you the service, the formula, and the framework in action, and how it can serve you and your website page as well, your homepage specifically, and then you can use on landing pages too. So please comment below if you found this helpful, and send me your homepages. I'd love to see them. I'd love to like rate them, you know, of course, and then I'd love to help you with them. So great talking. Talk to you soon.